Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. Today we are going to be talking about time management and how you are allocating your time each and every day. This seems to be a big subject for a lot of folks just because a lot of folks are in transition, either back to school or back to work or doing both, because some people are doing 2 days at work and 2 days at home, and it's been tough to kind of allocate their time properly to make sure that they're getting the most out of each and every day. And what we're going to talk about today is just how we're going to actually time budget that and what we're going to do going forward to make sure that we're more productive each and every day.
Awesome, babe. And I do want to report happily that we are back in the gym physically. So I know, at least for me, my mental health is a lot better. We've been back in a regular gym for, I think, 2 weeks now. And it's kind of funny because we cut the podcast for routines before we were back in the gym. And then by the time it came out, we were already back in the gym. So it's just kind of funny things that happen when you're a little too productive and you get things done ahead of time that sometimes they're not relevant anymore. But anyways, yeah, we're going to be talking about time management today and what we've done in our life to be more productive and more useful with the time that we are given each day.
Absolutely. I know that sometimes in multiple different areas of everyone's life, I know that some days you feel like you've done so much and you're so stressed out at the end of the day, and you look back at your day and you're like, man, what did I really even accomplish today? And I think that's a lot of people, especially in today's society, because we're split at home. We got kids, we got things going on, and we're trying to get on all these Zoom meetings. And then you got technical difficulties with the Zoom meetings, and your camera doesn't work and the sound doesn't work. And, you're trying to run around and get everything done. But it seems like at the end of the day, you're just like, man, what did I really accomplish today? And that's frustrating for everybody. But what I've done with that, because I know that it is frustrating, is that we come up with like a time budget. It can be an agenda, it can be a planner, it can be whatever you want it to be, but make sure you're blocking off the times that, you are working so you can be productive during that work time. And if you want to accomplish stuff with family, you can block off that time as well. So like, let's say for instance, like I'm working from 8 to 5. Well, what do I have to do to spend some time with my family in the morning before that? Do I have to, block off 7, maybe 6:30 to 7 o'clock to make sure I spend some time with my family in the morning before I go to work? And then when I get home from work, I know that, let's say at 5:30 to 7 o'clock is all family time. And then I'm going to grow myself at, I'm going to read my book that I really want to read for 30 minutes at night, whether it's at 9:30 or 9:30 to 10 o'clock or whatever that is. Make sure that you're blocking off the times that's important to you so that you can get things done. And I'm going to let Ashley talk a little bit about what she does, as far as that's concerned as well.
Yeah. And along with blocking off time, I know that we had already talked about routines on episode 7 is all about routines. So we're not going to go much into that on this podcast. But with that, you might not be able to have time with your family before you go to work, because if your routine is taking up that time until you leave to go, that's fine too. It's finding what works for you. It's just, there's so many different options. And obviously if you work, the night shift, everything's going to be changed around because your day is not going to look like somebody who's working 8 to 5 or whatever, that you need to make something that works for you. So what's worked for me is I know that I can get easily sidetracked, distracted, and I need to write down a to-do list. And I know some people are against to-do lists, but I am totally for them. I think to-do lists are very helpful, and making it a realistic to-do list is also important. And then also on top of that if you do put a bunch of things on your to-do list, you are not expecting yourself to get all of them done in a day, because we all know things get thrown at us and that you may not have time to get done a fraction of what you've written down, but to be okay with that and not beat yourself up at the end of the day that, oh man, I didn't accomplish these 20 things I wrote down. And I know for mine is more of an open to-do list. I don't have set deadlines on some things if they don't have to be done at a certain time. Like obviously, if you've got, this is on my brain because we have to get it done quickly, is an inspection on our car and we're in North Carolina, so they require that. So we have a deadline that has to be done. So obviously I have to get that done sooner, and I can't just leave that open-ended because there is a due date on that. But some other things that I have to get done, it doesn't necessarily matter if I do it that day or not, but I put it on the list because if I don't, I can definitely forget that. And there've been many instances where I'm like, yeah, I'll get that done. And I didn't write it down, so I didn't do it. It's not that I didn't want to do it. It's that it wasn't written. So if I don't have it written down, the chance of me doing it is very low. So that is definitely one thing I highly recommend, is to write down whatever it is that you need to get done so that you remember to do it.
Slight thing of that, I know that, like, for instance, if you don't write down the exact things of what we need at the grocery store, sometimes we just end up adding stuff to it, and then we end up not even getting some of the stuff that we needed on the actual list. And then we were like, oh, by the way, the good news is that we live like 0.5 miles away from a grocery store, but we always have to backtrack back into getting stuff. That costs us time.
That's true. I will also add that when we go grocery shopping together, there's a lot of extra things that end up in the cart that wouldn't have been if it was just one of us. So I'm sure other people can relate to that sometimes grocery shopping by yourself is the best option.
Hey, you listen here, okay? Like, I'm more fun when you grocery shop with me, and you said that multiple times. The grocery shopping is way more fun with me than without me. This is 100%
true. So Matt acts like a 5-year-old, and he gets on the cart and pushes the cart down the aisle and rides the cart with one foot on the cart and the other foot in the air like a child. So it's very entertaining. And this is not what our podcast is about, but we just went off on this tangent, so why not?
But hey, it's a part of the checklist, though, right? It's a part of writing stuff down and being more productive, and a part of doing stuff.
That's
so
true.
It's okay. And I know that, I think that a part of this is that we always want to make sure that we communicate the best thing to you. And I know that whenever you write stuff down, whenever you're in the moment, whenever you're being productive, that's when you feel the best. And that's what this is all about, is just making sure that you feel the best each and every day for you, your family, for your work, for whatever you're trying to accomplish each and every day. So if you feel more productive and you feel at peace and you feel more positive, that's what that's all about. And I think it's about our, what we want to bring to you is hope, healing, and peace. And I think that when you can write that down, you feel more productive each and every day. You get those 3 things that we're actually talking about all the time.
Yeah, and it has underlying things that it helps too. I feel like when you are more productive and you get done what you need to get done, there's less self-condemnation and you feel better about yourself because you are accomplishing something. And that is very, very important, just in life, that you're getting things done, you're going somewhere, and you're being productive and making good use of the time that you've been given, because we're all given the same amount of time. People who are very successful are not given extra time. Everybody is given the same exact hours in a day. It's what you do with those that matters.
Absolutely. And I think about it as, like we always, we've talked about it before, is that not on any of the podcasts, but it's almost like just taking the car out of park and putting it in at least neutral and getting the car going somewhere is a part of this, is because if you can't minimize the amount of times that you're idle and that you're not productive, and you just want to just kind of actually get in that rhythm of getting in that routine, getting in that time management, actually figuring out all the things that are in your life, you can actually get the car out of park and get the car going somewhere. But until you actually get to that point, it's just maybe not even working. It's working against you more than it is with you. And I think that's a part of it. For me, I know that I'm just trying to make sure that I be as productive as I can with the time that I have. And a part of time management that is kind of frustrating for me is that my time changes all the time because I'm traveling a lot. So, maybe not even be able to be in a full routine. Maybe you not even be able to have a time management in certain days. I just feel immediately drained by 5 or 6 o'clock. And I know sometimes I'll call you after like 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm like, I'm just so tired today. And it's because I haven't even been able to accomplish the things I want to accomplish. And my time schedule has been all over the place with meetings or whatever it is at the end of the day. And it hasn't even been the end of the day yet. I still got multiple hours of the day left, but I just feel like I'm just absolutely devastated and drained by 5, 6 o'clock at night.
So what do you do then to counter that when you're traveling all the time? Because I know that we have some listeners, that travel as well for work. So what have you done to help you feel more productive when you are on the go like that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's trying to find a gym so I can start my day off right. It is writing in my journal that I have and making sure that I have that. And this week I didn't even have that, so that was tough because I left it on the kitchen table this week when I was packing my stuff. And you sent me the picture of exactly what it looked like in my mind, so I could do something. But at the same time, it wasn't my journal. It wasn't. I had that emotional almost connection to the journal where I have to be able to have that. I always try and read and make sure that I put myself in that positive state. And that is a part of my daily routine that I have and the time management that I have and making sure I set aside that time. So I am at my top mental capacity of what I need to be each and every day. And if I can't work out, I try and run outside if I can, which is absolutely terrible because I don't like to run outside. It's terrible, especially in North Carolina or some of the places I go. It's like, ultimate hills and it's an incline of craziness. And
it's very hot.
Yeah, it's like, 89 degrees outside at night at 10 o'clock at night. So it's, it's just absolutely terrible to run outside sometimes. And it's just not even enjoyable to even get that in. But at the same time, I do feel more productive when I actually have all those combinations of those things in the morning before I even start.
So what if you say you're traveling and you don't have that time in the morning because you got in super late and then you have to be somewhere even earlier, especially, if it's a new account for you? What are you doing to counter that? If it's not, if you don't have that time in the morning, what are you doing later in the day, if anything, to help counter that?
For me, it's actually sometimes when I go into a place like a restaurant or whatever, I'll actually listen to a podcast while I'm eating my dinner because that resets my brain and helps me get refocused on what I'm actually trying to accomplish. Because for me, if I haven't had that stuff in the morning and I haven't had what I needed, I'll plug in a podcast and I'll listen to that podcast while I'm eating. And then when I'm done, I call you and I'll be in a different mood when I actually call you when I'm done, because I reset my brain and fed it positive and reset it in that way. And that's what works for me, to have that reset, is to be able to listen to something different and get some positivity fed into my life.
That's awesome. And I feel like right now we are in a huge season of distraction, and that I found myself, actually this past week, trapped in a rabbit hole of social media videos. And it's like I just watched one that was like 3 or 4 minutes long, and then I just got sucked into the next one because based off what you look at, they show you more that relate to the same thing. And it's just easy to go down that rabbit hole of watching it. It could be completely nothing, like completely not growing you at all. Like I got sucked into watching videos about people doing their hair. Like it wasn't growing me at all. And so this is just real talk to let you guys know, like we're not superhuman or anything like that. We struggle with the same things that you do. I felt like off after I had been sucked into all that social media stuff for a couple hours, which is, I feel like that's a little embarrassing, but that's what happened to me. And I got sucked down that rabbit hole. But afterwards I was like, man, I just wasted all that time. I could have done something productive. And then at that point afterwards, I didn't even feel like wanting to do anything, which it's not always about feeling, but I felt even less motivated after doing that I really didn't want to do anything else for the day. I was like, oh, well, I guess I don't really have much more time today to do anything. And the things that helped me snap out of that is having stuff written down, having that to-do list, because I could completely forget what I was supposed to be doing. That if I look at that list, it helps me remember, like, oh yeah, I do need to get this, and this done. And I'm going to do that now because I should have done that earlier. But this really happened to me this week, and it didn't make me feel the greatest. And steps that I've taken to help combat things like that is, and I've done this before this week, but moving my apps in my phone, especially social media apps, to a specific folder so that they're not just on the front page. So I can't just easily click into it. Sometimes I forget where they are, and it's like I have to search to find it, which is a good thing, because if it's less accessible, I feel like you're less likely to just, fall into that trap of just getting sucked away for a couple hours within all of that.
Absolutely. And I know that for lot of the stuff that we've actually done, I know that one thing that Darren Hardy talked about with a couple of his books is that he felt like he was being super productive every single day. And he actually wore a stopwatch and actually recorded how much work he actually did in a whole day. And he thought he was working, he was putting in 12 to 14 hours a day. And he recorded actually how much time he spent that day actually working on a stopwatch. And at the end of the day, his stopwatch read like 45 minutes. And it was like, he's like, so obviously I wasn't being that productive that day. And I wonder how much time that we actually spend thinking that we're productive versus actually being productive. And I'm not saying that everybody is the same way as Darren Hardy. And, he goes to extremes now because of what he's done and how productive he's done and how he's built multi-million-dollar businesses and real estate and everything else. But at the same time is that, how much time are we spending on social media? How much time are we spending on Instagram, or Facebook, TikTok, whatever platform you use? How much time are you spending on that a day? And honestly, like, I know that sometimes when I get the screen report from my Apple iPhone, I get kind of mad. I'm like, I spent 2 hours on my phone today, or like every single day this week. Like, I'm mad about that. I don't know how you feel about that whenever you get your screen report, but
mine's a lot higher than that, Matt. That's pretty low. But I actually didn't believe it. Like when I first saw the screen report, I'm like, there's no way. There is no way I've spent that much time on my phone. It'll be like 8 to 10 hours. However, my defense on part of that is that when I drive to all the different homes that I show, I do have my phone open on the GPS. So I know that is counting for a lot of the time because I often go places that are 45 minutes away one way. So that is a lot of screen time. But however, I do, spend time on my phone on other things, email, social media, planning things, anything like that is all on my phone.
Yeah, I had to remind myself too about that because I actually use my phone for a hotspot. And if I'm using it for a hotspot, it counts it as open screen time as well, even though my screen may not be open the whole time. But if I'm using it for a hotspot, it counts as a screen time as well. So I looked into it a little bit because I got a little bit frustrated one day. I was like, wait a second, I know I haven't been on my phone that much. I would challenge you, at the end of each day of how much time you're actually spending in social media, how much time you're actually spending, maybe even growing yourself. Because I think the times that we are the most productive or what we think are the most productive, we're actually not being that productive. And I'd actually challenge you to actually, if you're saying that you don't have enough time and you're way too busy to do something, I would challenge you to actually track how much time you actually spend doing productive work each and every day, because I guarantee you, you may be surprised at the actual outcome of that at the end of the day. If you write it down of when you do each individual thing and actually look at what you're doing every day, I guarantee you may have a little more time than what you think.
I completely agree with that. And I feel like some tips to help be more productive and a better steward of your time would be to think about what helps you be more productive in the first place. I know for me, and this could be a mental thing of just thinking it helps that makes it help, or I know that there's stimulating effects of coffee, but I love coffee so much. I am a coffee addict and I will openly admit that. But coffee makes me more productive. And that could just be, yes, because of the chemicals of it, that the caffeine and everything does make me more productive, or that me thinking it makes me more productive actually makes me more productive. So it's probably a combination of both, but figure out what helps you be like that. I know also if I have a quiet office and not a lot of other sounds playing or music or whatever, that I am more productive. Now there's certain tasks that if I'm doing them, I would rather have music on or a podcast or something, such as if I'm cleaning the house, something like that. I do like having background noise because I feel like I get it done faster and that I'm more motivated to do so, and that it feels less like a chore if I have something on in the background. But find what helps you be more productive. So for me, like I said, coffee, a quiet office, distractions off. So I will usually flip my phone upside down so I can't see. If I get like face down, maybe not upside down, but face down, and that I cannot see if somebody texts me or I get a call or whatever, and I check it periodically, but I leave it face down if I'm doing something important and I don't want to be distracted, that is very helpful. So then I don't even see anything flashing on the screen and it's not a distraction to me. And going back to routines, if I get my morning routine in, that helps me be more productive throughout the entire day. If I don't do my morning routine, that definitely throws me off and I feel a lot less productive and motivated throughout the day. I feel like, going to the gym, writing my journal, listening to the Bible, affirmations, all of the things that we talked about in the routines episode, that is what helps me be more productive. So really figure out for you, what do you need to make you more productive? And if you've never thought about that before, write it down and refer back to that. Do I have these things in place to make me more productive? Is it once, if you're stay at home or if you're working from home? Is it when your kids are at school or in another room? Or, do your pets need to be in a different room if they're making too much noise? Or, do you need a similar environment? Like I said, a quiet office, does coffee, does something, is there something you have to have that helps you be more productive? So think about those things, because I think that's going to help you a lot in the long run, especially in this season. Like I said, it's a season of distraction, that whatever you can do to combat that so that you can be productive in your life, that's what's going to matter at the end of the day.
I would say that even in the aspect of, while you're finding what makes you more productive, figure out what kind of stresses you out as well. Write that down. Figure out what distracts you as well and write that down. And figure out how you can eliminate stuff and how you can be more productive and how you can limit your stressors. Because I think that when you can write it out for yourself and figure out those certain things, at the end of the day, you're going to be more productive and you're going to feel better about your day long term. But, until you actually physically write down this stuff, a lot of times it won't happen, like we talked about earlier today. And I know for me, a lot of the times whenever I'm on the road or I'm, in an airport or anything like that, those are stressors for me. And I know that. So when I go into that environment, I have, it may sound a little weird, I have spa music on that I have in my headphones. So as I'm walking through an airport, I don't hear all the extra stuff. I just listen to my spa music as I'm going through it, because I know that is a stressor for me, because I'm coming from a place, going to the airport. I have to be at the airport. I'm usually late, and that's why I have TSA, and I'm running through TSA, and I'm going to the gate, and I usually get there about 20 minutes before my plane takes off, or maybe 30 minutes if I'm lucky. And I just know that about me, in particular. So if I know that is a stressor for me, then I know that I need to put myself in a better state of mind, so I am more productive, so I am in a better place whenever I can take that time, because on the plane, that is a time for me to take advantage of reading or whatever I want to do, so that when I do get home, after doing whatever I wanted to do on the plane, because usually I'm coming back to where we live, I can be in the best possible mood and the best possible state of mind. So when I get off the plane, I'm ready to interact with Ashley and just give her what she needs when I get home too, because it's a part of that partnership that we have, and being able to really be in the moment when I do get home, and I'm not going to be upset, or I'm not going to be, stressed out, so that I can be in the best state of mind when I do get home. Because when I first started, I know that I wouldn't do that. And when I get home, you'd be like, hey, I want to talk to you. I want to talk about everything under the sun. And I'm like, I'm just got off of a 4-hour flight or a 3-hour flight. And I changed time zones, and I rushed to the airport. I dropped off the car, and I really didn't relax on the plane because I really didn't have time to calm down. And, so I didn't put myself in that right state of mind to have that conversation. And that was frustrating for you, but that was a part of me managing my time properly while I was in the plane, while I was doing certain things, so I can make sure that I was ready to have that conversation with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's a good transition into the next little part that I want to talk about, is being productive with your partner, or just being productive as a family. Because I know that for some people, you might not get as much done together as you would apart. Some is vice versa. I know for Matt and I that we actually just discussed this today, that we are more productive together when we work on things together. And I feel like I can be pretty productive on my own, But a lot of things that I need to get done because we do have a business together, because we have a lot of things that we do together, that I need his input on something before I finish it, or whatever it is that I need his thoughts on. And if I'm alone, I can't always get that done, especially if he is at an account at work and I don't have, access to talk to him at that specific time, that I either have to make the decision on my own or wait until I can talk to him. So that makes it take longer for whatever that task is to get done. Or if we're together, that's when we get more done because we can just communicate right there on the spot. And that, in my mind, is being way more productive because you can just get it done then and move on to the next thing. And for me, that is less stressful because I like to get things done quickly if I can. Like Matt has called me before the efficiency expert, which I'm not going to deny that because sometimes they think I'm a robot, but I would like to get things done as efficiently as possible. I do not like to waste time. I do not like it when people waste my time. I don't like it when other things waste my time. So if I can avoid that, it is just better for me all around. And Matt's over here laughing because he knows how true this is. So I'll let him add a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, with the efficiency thing, at times it's like, oh man, like she could accomplish anything and everything in one day. I call her my superwoman because she is. And honestly, like, I am not as efficient as she is, but I can accomplish things and I'm good at putting them together. But at the same time, I'm certainly not as efficient as she is. I mean, even down to parking, down to walking fast, down to just the little minor details that get stuff done just a little bit faster. She's able to do that. And it's pretty amazing to watch because I definitely didn't appreciate it as much as what I did until I actually learned a little bit more about her.
Thanks, babe. And my going to the walking fast. So I have been walking fast since 2003 when I started high school, and my classes were on the complete other side of the building and I had only 10 minutes to get to my locker in there. So I've been walking fast since then because I had to, and it's just programmed in there and that's how I like to do things. So anyways, off topic, but when it comes down to it, really making the most use of your time is what we're trying to help with. And especially in this season, like we've said, that it's so easy to get distracted and to feel like at the end of the day, wow, I did a bunch of stuff. And then you look at your to-do list and you're like, oh, but I didn't get any of that done. So what did I actually do? So really it's looking at even what systems you have in place, what you've got, as far as a to-do list, what do you need in your environment to make you more productive, things like that. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, and really following your priorities. If you're spending a bunch of time getting things done that have nothing to do with your priorities, then that's something you need to refocus to make sure that the things that you say you prioritize, you're actually doing. So in closing, we hope this was helpful for you guys. Like always, please share this, like it, give us a rating, subscribe, let your friends and family know about it, and we will catch you guys next week. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook, and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life because your life is your responsibility.